All right, so now we're recording. So again, just for the benefit of the people that watch this video after we upload it and start passing it around, from this day forward, because we're just growing and growing, and I want to get, the other day we had a 3.5-hour meeting and I spent a lot of time editing. So I'm going to do my best just to have a quick opening statement from now on and then pass it over. Usually Dan will be here to be the chairperson to take hands, give everybody like 5 minutes if they want to comment on the opening statement or they have any information to share. And we'll try not to let myself or anybody else go into long, dissertations and rants, because I know I can do that. We'll try to, minimize that and keep the meetings, to no more than an hour. So it's 7:15 now. So one of the things I'm always saying when I do the videos is knowing, I'm just always cognizant of the fact that on the one hand, we're having a meeting so we can all talk and discuss and share information. On the other hand, it's being recorded. So it's a video that's getting out there on the internet for other people to see and hopefully, not only pick up some things, but be inspired and motivated to join with us. Because joining with us means that our ultimate purpose here is to, and let me, this is essentially going to be my opening statement every time. What we're ultimately doing here, and let's give owner there. How you doing, owner? How you doing? If you could, can you put in a little parentheses after your name, what state you're in? I'm trying to get everybody to do that from now on. Just kind of add it after your name. So what we're doing at righteousarmy.org, again, nationalmilitianetwork.com, points and forwards to righteousarmy.org, militiausa.org, points and forwards to righteousarmy.org. I like the name Righteous Army because most of the people all of the people that I envision being involved with trying to organize as we the people are on the center to right, conservative, Christian, God-believing, God-respecting, traditional family values. It doesn't mean they're perfect. None of us are claiming that, but it means that we favor God, we favor righteousness, we favor the high road, we favor collectively getting together so we can stand. And if everybody could mute just so there's no noise in the background. Yeah, and then raise your hand, the little hand icon when you're ready to say something or you have a question. So I've gotten so many messages on videos since we started only a month ago from people who express concerns about somebody in this meeting must be FBI or this is an FBI sting operation. And I always tell them, great, fine, let the FBI join us. I'm not really concerned about those people anyway, because we don't want cowards to begin with. We don't want people that are cowardly, that are fearful. We don't want people that are into the leftist, liberal, progressive agenda, because that's the New World Order, one world government agenda. As I indicate in the website, right? It's American conservatives, Christians, patriots, truthers, people that believe in traditional family values, people that believe in God, believe in the Bible, believe in the republic, the constitutional republic of the United States of America. They believe in their God-given, inalienable, unalienable rights of individual sovereignty, self-determination, free will, and the fact that the Declaration of Independence and Constitution of the United States and Bill of Rights were all put in place to protect those rights. Now, as I've been putting forth my effort over the last 2 years, primarily through the bigvirushoax.com, to put as much information as possible out onto the internet for people that are confused about everything that's been going on with this. It's even difficult to talk about, right? The mainstream narrative is there's a pandemic. There's a worldwide pandemic. A natural little virus is out there killing the world. It's bullshit, right? It's a plandemic. It's a scamdemic. Fortunately, because of the internet, more and more people are becoming aware of that because of alternative platforms like BitChute and Rumble and Odyssey. Obviously, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, they are owned and run by communists flat out. So they will censor the truth. They will censor information that is opposed to their agenda. It's only because of the blessing of having these alternate platforms and people like me, there's many others out there that have taken the time to be what have been called keyboard warriors, right? When I created the bigvirushoax.com, I mean, it was a full-time 24/7, 2-year task of just listening to Dr. Andrew Kaufman and Dr. Tom Cowan and Dr. Stefan Lanka, and just to go, the list goes on and on. Amanda Vollmer in Canada and Tom Barnett down in Australia, and just so many people coming out of the woodwork to, from a scientific and medical and health practitioner point of view, point out how this whole thing is bullshit, and more than being bullshit, how the vaccines are a weapon, period. Dr. Leonard Horowitz probably did the greatest work on making the connection between the fact that every known virus, alleged virus disease, every popular disease or illness that we hear of that's dangerous and deadly was created in a laboratory, period. So on our website, thebigvirushoax.com, we put everything that covers that. I mean, from A to Z. It's a 50-page website that has the best of the best information. So if there's a new world order, one world government depopulation campaign going on, not only does that give us a reason to organize, right? In other words, we the people must organize. And that means all of us. I'm not a fan of the left-right paradigm. I'm not a fan of the Democrat-Republican bullshit divisive tactic. I'm not. However, there is a division. And the division, the only division that exists in this world, is a moral division. Morality. It's a moral division. That's all there is to it. Anybody who rejects godly ideas, godly concepts, morality, salvation, forgiveness, principles that, while they may be associated with a lot of bullshit religions, a lot of mainstream religious bunk, that's true. And a lot of people are not religious because of all the mainstream Christian bunk. That doesn't mean that there's not truth with regards to God Almighty, the Creator Divine, forgiveness, morality, the high road, us overcoming, being overcomers, right? Seeking the high road, acknowledging God, giving thanks to God, being godly, because there really is that side of the equation versus the godless, immoral, no morals, anything goes, self-destructive agenda. That's the division. It's a moral division. That's just all there is to it. And anybody who doesn't like that reality, it's because they don't like having to wrestle with their own struggles or their own issues, whether it's pornography or drugs or alcohol or vaping or smoking or being caught up in social trends that they feel like they're doing just because it's a social trend. People struggle. Life's not easy. We all have a difficulty. We all go through it. We all have to struggle. We all have to find our own path, right? To the extent that religions have been a benefit for helping people have something to focus on that helps their life, to help them overcome these demons or these issues or these problems, I'd say that's a good thing, not a bad thing. So I don't see anything worthy in condemning or criticizing mainstream, even Christianity or religion, to the extent that it's a helpful crutch or tool for people who need it. Granted, there are people who can get caught up in their own psycho-emotional extremism with regards to it that might offend the people that aren't into it. So there's a lot of psychology going on in this whole division of humanity, right? If the clouds were to open up and some big face stared down and said, "I'm the creator, Lord God divine," I guarantee you that would change all kinds of minds and behaviors, right? Because we live in this earth by faith, right? We live by beliefs, right? And there's all kinds of contradictory beliefs and faiths, which makes it worse. So it's not an easy task. The closest I could come to saying, let me organize, is to use the titles, conservative, Christian, patriot, truther, and to throw out the reality that we're looking to organize people who are, one, people that will stand for their dignity and their rights, their God-given and inalienable rights of self-determination and freedom and liberty. And that might apply to everybody on both sides of the equation, on both sides of the moral argument, right? People want to protect their rights, no matter what their issues are in life, right? So that kind of encompasses everybody, right? Two, people that, and this is where we can start, filtering away some of the chaff, people that will take a position that they stand for the Declaration of Independence, national sovereignty, the Constitution of the United States, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, right? So now we do have some chaff drifting off to the left, right? Into the leftist liberal column, right? Anti-Second Amendment, anti-gun, type people who really are just on that bandwagon because they want to be on a bandwagon and they want to be opposed to people that they think are on the right. That division starts. But nonetheless, that's a moral equation. And the moral equation ties in big time when we simply reflect upon the fact that a gun doesn't kill anybody. No gun has ever killed anybody. If I have a gun and I sit it there, it's not going to kill anybody. People kill other people, right? Now, sure, there can be accidents. All the more reason for us to be having gun safety training, right? All the more reason for the militia to be a social unity, unified movement where we have a meeting of the minds, where we have a point man and a point woman in every county that says, yeah, I'm a sovereign person and I believe in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the Second Amendment. And, my fight's not against the government as long as we have a good government that's not intrusive. I don't want communism taking over my government. I don't want oligarchs trying to take over. I don't want nobody taking away my rights. But in case those things happen, let me prepare my community. Let me use the skills I picked up when I was in the military for 5, 10, 15, 20 years as a SEAL or a Green Beret or a Ranger. Let me become a contact person for the militia so that now on the front end, and I'm really talking about the front end of the militia, because we hear a lot of stories about the militia being in the backwoods, bunch of good old boys that are getting guns and they're preparing to storm the Capitol. And then now we really got to start sorting out PSYOPs and FBI sting operations and everything else. So I'm really talking about the front end of us, just those of us who concur with these points of our individual rights, the Constitution, the Second Amendment, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, morality, moral virtue, God, traditional family values, the right leaning, center to right, right? That's the idea here. Organizing those people and having people that are stepping up to the plate to say, yeah, I'll be the point man. I'll be the point person in my county to help organize the militia. If this had been done 10 or 20 or 30 years ago, we'd already have our 6 million. Last point I'll say, and then I'm going to take the hand. While everything we're doing is lawful and peaceful and open and transparent, hence there's no reason for anybody to be concerned about 3-letter agencies or the government or anything else, because everything we're doing is lawful and peaceful and open and transparent. That's our protection. And we're working in friendly cooperation with our constitutional sheriffs and our constitutional governors. We're just being forthright. We're just saying, yep, we the people are the militia. That's a fact. So we're just organizing our community, organizing the unorganized militia, if you will. All right. We're not saying we're getting guns and we're organizing to march to Washington. Nobody's ever said that. We're organizing all the people who are willing to do that if the time comes that we need to do that. See, there's a difference. They can't get me on that either. When the day comes that the FBI is going to come to my house or they're going to try to take me into custody because I said that I'm willing to bear arms against a communist, corrupt, tyrannical government in accordance with the Declaration of Independence that says when the government is destructive of my peace and my safety and my happiness and my rights, and I'm willing to be one of many who would abolish that government by force if need be, but we're going to use every legal means possible until the ultimate last option is force. If the day ever came that I was going to be taken into custody for that, then we're in real trouble, right? So while we're not trying to bear arms and go storm a Capitol, we've never said that. We're organizing all of us that are of like mind regarding moral virtue, traditional family values. We're opposed to the leftist liberal progressive agenda, and we're all willing to bear arms if we have to, but we're going to use every possible legal means to not have to do that while we grow. And if we had 10 million people like that already, we'd have already cleaned up shop. We'd have cleaned up shop on January 6th when 200 people were set up. And they hoped they would take in millions that day, but that backfired on them. Go ahead, James, before you do, Matt Brown says, Mike, text me after Zoom. Yeah, please, Matt, send me a text. I don't even know that I have your number. Do you have my number? And I'm going to throw it out again, 305-910-6206. So please text me, Matt, and then I'll send you out a text after the meeting. Appreciate it, brother. So James in Colorado, just a little segue. We discussed this in our last meeting. James is actually a lawful governor of Colorado under the restored republic. It's a whole movement that's going on. That's my understanding of it. This is something also I'm trying to get to the bottom of, is the whole thing of national sovereignty versus or in conjunction with, getting on board with, the restored republic. Go ahead, James.
Thank you, Mike. Let me try to give people a bird's eye view of who I am and what I represent. I represent the people. I live in Colorado, on the southwestern Colorado. Hence my avatar is the flag of the Republic, which also includes the indigenous people here on this continent, because they have a voice also, and they're part of God's kids. It's interesting, the lead-in you made, Mike. Religious and God-fearing and moral and just and all those things is absolutely necessary for a truly free nation, because we're all accountable, and we know in the end we're accountable big time for our actions. And so we hold ourselves above reproach is the goal. And we all know we fail, and there has to be a system set up. And we understand, shifting gears, we understand what's going on, and we understand the different tentacles of the tree. But let me paint a different picture of that for you. The lawyers got control of the family trust. And in that family trust is the enforcement arm of the trust, which are made up of us. And they've got us so entangled in their web of deceit that the battles come down now as to who's going to control the family trust. And that's literally exactly what's going on. So in behalf of the people, the states came together in quorum and filed a declaration of sovereign intent and claim an interest on the assets of the corporation that our forefathers created. And they created a new flag, and they even claimed the flag that we all fly today in our front yards for the most part. I don't. I fly a republic flag because I understand whose jurisdiction I want to serve under. And also, I've been elected by the people, a grassroots vote, to be the voice of the people in this subject and to represent them. So I'm accountable to my next door neighbor. I'm accountable to my friends. I'm accountable to the people in my church, in my community, and they know who I am. And we've had multiple things. We talked earlier about the COVID shot mandates and the effect we were, as a people, we were able to have on that with the new rulings. That story goes far deeper, as several of my friends on this call can testify. We've had executive orders come from the Trump desk regarding managing our national forests, and because the people stood up and we had their ability to get to the right ears to achieve a goal. And so I use those as illustrations that united we stand, divided we fall, and this is all our republic. It's interesting that when they filed the papers in November of 2010 with this Declaration of Sovereign Intent, that they filed that trust for our PayPal account, our World Trust, as a religious trust, and there is no social security number on this trust, and the world accepted it because we are a nation. And this trust is formed by the people. And every one of us has a piece of that trust that chooses to accept it. So in doing that, that builds on exactly what you were talking about, Mike. And this is a righteous army as far as my association in this effort. And it's not about the agenda. We all have the same agenda. We all have different ways of getting there. And that's good because we need diversity, not dictatorship. And I like your plan, which coincides directly with our efforts to bring transition elections to the people, which is what my part of what my duties were described to me when I took this office, was to bring transition elections to the people in a peaceful and lawful manner, and to educate people. Because with education then comes the understanding of the next move on the chessboard that we need to make. And so I found your efforts with the people you've associated with to go hand in glove with what we're all trying to accomplish. So now we have the target, we have the manpower. Now we need a platform that's acceptable to the people that can accomplish the task. You can call us wolves in sheep's clothing because God is a God that can send down the lightnings and split the mountains and bring forth out water out of the rock, and he is to be feared. So you can call him with his love a wolf in sheep's clothing, and we're supposed to reflect him. So my encouragement is built on a proven method, of which I have an associate here that's been deeply involved in developing this method successfully over the decades. And if he feels free to step in and raise his hand, it's up to him. But it would be wise for us to take his counsel and strongly consider what he brings to the table should he choose to speak.
I hope he does.
I thank all my friends for joining me and all those new friends I'm about to meet. We have an exciting future ahead of us. We just need to do it in a proper way. We're prepared to allow the state militias to come together and to elect or appoint people to serve according to the Northwest Ordinance, the 5 positions required, which is governor, 2 senators, representative, and a judicial officer. And you send that list to us, and our Congress will go through the necessary steps to vet those people as to their moral quality and who they are and their leadership and communication abilities. And those are your choices as the people. That was grassroots. You sent them to these offices for a specific purpose, and that is to bring lawful elections to the people so that they can restore their republic. And each of those counties need a representative sent to the state to represent the people of their county at the state level. This is grassroots. This is lawful. This is recognized by over 140 nations on the face of this earth as the lawful governance, should we choose to accept it.
Let me interject,
But it's our
James,
choice.
just a quick interjection. Everything James is talking about within the website, militiausa.org, which points to righteousarmy.org. Anywhere where I write constitutional republic and it's a link, it links to the website that has all the information James is talking about. So on several of the pages, I've made links, which again, it's a little bit of a long name, but what's the name again? For Republic for the United States of America.org.
That's correct, Mike.
Right. Yeah. So that's the, you can just type that into a browser, Republic for the United States of America.org. Or again, if you're at righteousarmy.org, anywhere that you see that link, and I'll also spell that name out on different pages so people can see it and they can click on it, because everything James is talking about. And again, I don't want to get too far off track here with, again, James knows I've been forthright about this in all my videos. I'm like the anti-conspiracy, anti-psyop guy. I'm the guy that's not going to let anything get past me. And as a result of being that way, I question everything. And James will make valid points that, especially if he knows that everything they're doing is on the up and up and it's lawful and it's established and it's true, we can all go that route. He knows that. But nonetheless, I'm a guy who's going to just question and make sure. I'm always trying to make sure that every road I go down is not only right for me, but it's right for every person that I'm telling it's right to go down. So this is why, I'm always addressing, as I've done in so many videos, all of these different divisive psyops, the as I've indicated in many videos, the Jew, anti-Semite, homosexual, just all these different things going on, the racism, the black, white, all these, the Q movement, psyops, the Trump, Biden, good cop, bad cop, just all these, the corrupt government that we do have, the infiltration of communists into our government. Who are they? Right. This is why, again, it's not the whole puzzle, but it's a big piece of the puzzle. The video that I'm always referencing, Europa, the Last Battle. That's why I put that video on our videos page and on every state page. I put a link to it so people could take the time and use their own God-given mind to review the information. It's a documentary. 12 hours. So it's a greater education in 12 hours than you've gotten all through grade school, middle school, and high school, especially on issues.
Could I make a couple?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Could I make a couple clarifications for the record?
Sure.
I'm not governor of Colorado State. I'm governor of Colorado Free State. All 50 states are free states. Okay, in republic with the Republic of the United States of America. Number two, I have a Colorado people have a website too. It's coloradofreestate.org. And
okay.
You can also contact me there through that website.
Okay. And again, I'm going to continue just doing my best to bring all of this to the American people in as honest and fair and straightforward of a way as I can, with integrity and dignity. There's a lot still for me to review. I intend to review everything that's on that website. But again, just from the conversations I've had with James, in a nutshell, what I feel pretty confident about is that there were people, patriots, going back again to 10, 15 years ago, that were looking at how they can lawfully restore the original republic that existed prior to our Congress moving to have a corporate structure that, and again, see, this is where it gets deep, because some people know nothing at all about any of this. Other people know a lot about it. But the whole notion that Washington, D.C. is a corporation that's owned by the Crown of England, that's owned by the Vatican, these world powers, this all gets into the whole thing I'm always harping on with the New World Order, one world government agenda, how they've infiltrated and hijacked the government of the U.S. They didn't do it just in the Biden-Trump era or in the Obama era. They started it back in the late 1800s with wealthy elite bankers, world bankers, right? The Rothschilds, right? The Bilderbergs, right? These names that we've all heard about, of being these big elite, the Rockefellers, the people with all the money that were controlling the politicians and buying and paying off the politicians in order to move the government of the United States into a position where it's now a corporate structure that's owned by the world elites. And most Americans, even me until a year or two ago, we go through life thinking that we live in the Republic Constitution, and we're all good to go. That's what everybody thinks. But when you look into it, you find out there's a whole bunch of stuff that's pretty mind-blowing. Like David Straight addresses that, I've said in many videos, better than anybody I've ever seen, in terms of exposing, this whole reality that when we're born, they created a system so that the parents are signing over their children under the state through the doctrine of parents padre without people even knowing it. They're an object, they're a product,
Hey,
they're
Mike.
cattle, they're chattel, they're owned by the government. Go ahead.
Hey, Mike, can we let some other people talk?
Yeah, go ahead, Melissa.
Good evening, everyone. As we all see that there is no moral virtue in America, and especially in our government and our schools. Our schools have taken God out and replaced him with, drag queens, demons, homosexuality. I don't really know what word to use for what's going on in the schools. So we need to get back to the basics. And I have grandchildren. They range from 10 to the oldest will be 23 next month. They all know how to shoot. 2 of them do archery. They all know how to fish. They know how to use a needle and thread, cook, start a fire, put up a tent. Some of them know how to garden. One is way better than me. But with thinking of getting back to the basics and morals, I pulled out an old Boy Scout handbook. It's from 1961. And I just highlighted a few things I wanted to read out of it. And it's basically on Scout teamwork. On page 36 is your Scout patrol. The patrol is the unit that makes scouting go. It is a small team, normally 6 to 8. We should have 49, one for each state. I'm not counting the District of Columbia because they have their own flag. That's just me personally. This is where the scouts learn skills together, share responsibilities, and take leadership roles while working towards the same goals. So all the state leaders should all be working towards the same goal to make a unit. What's the saying? United we stand. So then you have your patrol leader. And you cannot have a good scout patrol without a good leader. So the boys, and I'm reading out of the Boy Scout book, so I know you're all men. Don't take it personally. I'm just reading their words. But make sure to choose the scout they respect the most as their leader. One who has energy and the will to work and enthusiasm to make the patrol the finest ever. The patrol leader is responsible for leading troop meetings. It is up to all of you in the patrol to follow your patrol leader through thick and thin. You've got to stick together for the good of the patrol. One thing is teamwork. We grow by teamwork. Number 2, teamwork. Those are 2 little words tied together, team and work. Both go back to old Anglo-Saxon days. Work is simple. It means work. Team could be from the Greek word tenon. I might not be saying that right, which means pull, lead, teach. Or it could mean family, a family pulling together. So basically, we're working as a family unit, always putting our Heavenly Father first, and then we have a head, a second in command, who morally unites the team. Now, right now, I think our patrol leaders that are best fitted is Mike and Dan. They're the ones that's kind of taken charge and have these meetings go on. Mike is the leader. Dan is the second in command. That's the way I look at it today. And there's a job for everyone in the patrol. And that there again, we all need to pull together with rights and duties. The scouts work for the good of everyone with loyalty, helpfulness, and fair play. Attend weekly meetings and get some sunshine. And it did say that in the book, get some sunshine. So I had to throw that in because I liked it. Remember that your patrol leader is not the only one with ideals. Each scout has a chance to suggest things that will keep the patrol running. Be on the lookout. Always keep your patrol strong by looking for new men, boys. We always want to be out there talking to people and telling them about the righteous army. Okay, what goes for the patrol goes for the troop as well. A chain is as strong as its weakest link, which to be strong, you have to be honest, brave, kind, reverent to our Father, physically strong, mentally awake, and your appearance should be neat and respectable. When I'm out there talking to people, I don't wear an Erie Nation shirt or my jump boots. I dress as a mom. When I know that I'm going to be talking to people, and I do talk to people, and I have passed out some flyers for the Righteous Army at the flea market last weekend. And to be honest, there were more women, there were 4 women that were more receptive than 2 of the men that I talked to. They wouldn't even take a flyer. But teamwork is to pull all ideals together for the truth. There will be times in any patrol's life that is going to be rough. These are the times when your team spirit is put to the test, the severest test. And there, I'm sure, will be many. We must remember loyalty when taking the bitter with the sweet. We must have an attitude, a good attitude, because our attitude shows everything. When we're out there talking to people, or even being on here talking to each other, we always need to be positive. Okay, now it got to the Scoutmaster, and I'm thinking, okay, I was a Girl Scout. Is that a Girl Scout leader? So I had to look it up because I thought that it was like a Girl Scout leader. But the Scoutmaster is responsible for working directly with the Scouts, providing direction, coaching, and support. Now, to me, I think our Scoutmaster should be our Heavenly Father. We should always, always try to walk with a moral and a righteous attitude, not a self-serving and above others, but if we live a moral life, that's going to show. That's going to be, it's going to show in the way you talk, in your language, such as don't use the F word, or try not to say bullshit. Try to, say, I don't know, crap, or it's a lie. But we should always carry ourselves like the Boy Scouts, because I don't think in the 50s the Boy Scouts were saying the F word. But and we need to be ready for anything that happens. We will come close. Be ready for anything that happens in the troop. You will come close to the high standard that your Scoutmaster has a right to expect, or a prospective first-class scout, but always by giving scouting the very best that is in you. And you will get the most out of scouting for yourself. Now, we're not scouts, and I'm definitely not a Boy Scout, but I just thought that this was very simple, and it worked back in the 50s. We had polite children back then, and I just thought maybe we could take a lesson from the Boy Scouts, and that's all I wanted to say.
That was great, Melissa. Appreciate that. A lot of good advice there. That would be great for all of us to whip out our old Boy Scout books and read them again, right?
Yeah, you bet.
Michael Shuttleworth, can you give us some wisdom?
Hey, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Yeah, I was kind of brought into this by Governor Carpenter, because I just recently moved out here from Mississippi. I'm retired military and law enforcement. And most of the time, you know, I listen and I listen to the information that's given and the words that are given by everybody. And I, you know, look at it and assess it, and I look at myself and see how I feel and how I look at things. And I won't say too much this time, but I do feel that bringing these two groups, these two organizations together for one common cause is something I think we really need to do. We're all on the same mission. We're all true Americans. We're all true patriots. We all love God, and we all love our freedom. And we might see a little different on different things, but our ultimate goal is the same. And freedom of mankind, freedom of our country, freedom to live the lives that God intended us to live. And I think it's great that we can come together and talk about these things and plan and work together. And I'm just honored to be here, and I hope that I can, in the future, I hope that I can contribute. And
forgive me for interrupting. Joseph, can you please mute Joseph? I'm sorry, Michael. Go ahead. Continue.
No, that's okay. Like I said, I'm just I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be among all these true patriots. And like I said, I hope in the near future that you know, as we work together, that I can contribute in some way to benefit us all and benefit our country. So just thank you for allowing me to be here.
Yeah, thank you for that. And let me just say right off the bat, because again, this is the main message ultimately that I'm always trying to put out anyway for everybody, for all of my fellow Americans. When I created the website righteousarmy.org, everything that's on that website that's written, right, came out of this mind by inspiration. I've been complimented by people in the past of being able to articulate things in a way that's very well articulated, right? Like, man, that's exactly the point. I didn't know how to say it, but you said it perfectly. So many people have told me that. And I know that sometimes I definitely feel inspired when I'm writing in a way that's intended to be very precise, precision, and articulate, like a knife to cut through the bullshit, the crap, Melissa. Thank you, Melissa. I do tend to use the BS word more than I should, and Melissa set me straight. I accept that set me straight. Thank you. So yeah, the BS, you know, gets me. You know, it's something that just it motivates me to. It becomes like a mental chess game. I know what they're doing. I know the psyops. I know what the enemy is doing on all levels. I see it. So it's like my way of trying to say, oh yeah, well, watch me write this in this way, which completely does away with your, you know, words that you're using to trip people up, because they do have a way of essentially trying to shame and humiliate and intimidate, by and large, to the most part, the white community, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant Christian men and women, humiliate them. They're white supremacists. They are bigots. They're Trump supporters. They're racists. All of that is psyop to shame them, to intimidate, to humiliate, to keep them from rising up and organizing. They want them to be divided, left, right, black, white, religious divisions, all kinds of divisions, and they're all psyops. You know, if you don't accept the liberal, progressive, leftist, transsexual, transgender, transhumanism, godless, communist agenda that they have in store for humanity, you are a white supremacist, you're a bigot, you're intolerant, you're hateful. That's their game. So I have set out to create articulations to put in proper perspective all the stuff about Jews and anti-Semitism, all the stuff about black, white, and racism and racist and racism, what that really is about, all the things about homosexuality and transgender and transsexualism and what that's really about, right? Put all the genies back in their bottles for what they really are. That's one of the things that I just kind of get inspired to do. So I invite anybody to read anything I ever write and critique it. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. Tell me where you think I'm wrong and why you think I'm wrong. Tell me if you think I should write it a different way. I'm good with that. You know, I gave one example of how I had on the home page what said declaration of war against a new world order, one world government takeover of the US. To me, that's fine. But yet I had a guy come on out of Nebraska that just thought that was a little too harsh and might give people the wrong idea. So I took it off saying, well, I don't want to do that, but I really wanted it on there. So I thought about it and I said, maybe I can reword it in a way that is even better. And I did. I think it's even better to say declaration of opposition against a new world order, one world government takeover of the US, right? So we're opposed to it. We who are opposed to the leftist liberal progressive agenda, we who do promote the godly right conservative Christian agenda, which are the same people who uphold the Declaration of Independence and Bill of Rights and Constitution, and again, all the laws that were put in place not to give us our rights, but to protect our God-given, inalienable or unalienable rights of self-determination, free will, responsible freedom, right? That reality is what drove me to try to articulate as good as I possibly could through the website righteousarmy.org to make it clear where we're coming from, why, what the problem is with this communist infiltration and hijacking of our government, how we're doomed if we don't do anything about it. The old saying, evil will prevail if good men and women do nothing. So we have to, but wait a minute, they're doing all kinds of things to try to trip us up. They're doing all kinds of things to try to aggravate us, piss us off, make us angry, get us to react. They're trying to get us to react with all kinds of things they're doing because they want to create a civil war. They want to create a race war. They want us to fire the first shot. It's all part of their agenda. So far, thumbs up to the American people. They've been doing pretty good at keeping their cool, because you also hear a lot about the people that are just pissed. They're calling for the militia. Where's the militia? Get in there and storm the White House and get rid of these communists, right? But obviously it's deeper than that. It's more profound than that. It has to be done smartly, right? And I've used the example before. I said it not long after January 6th, because again, it just came to me. Again, my views on Trump, I address it all the time because I feel I have to, because I know that the vast majority of my brothers and sisters out there are Trump supporters. I was his greatest supporter. Okay, it's just that I'm of the position now, for a variety of reasons, that Trump and Biden are just two wings of the same bird. They're playing good cop, bad cop for the New World Order, one world government agenda. I believe I have proof of that. I believe the articulations I made on the Trump and Q page at the website validates that. It's not, and again, like I said, the Trump supporters, I'm in their camp. They're my friends. I agree with them. The Trump supporters are great. There's a reason they supported him, because he had a pro-American platform that was huge. But the question is, why did he have a pro-American platform? Was it possibly to rally and raise the people that are the enemy of the New World Order, one world government agenda, so they could be seen for their strengths and their weaknesses and their numbers and their size, and who are they and how many of are extreme, and let's start putting them on lists, and how many of them can we like shaking a hornet's nest, how many of them can we maybe get them to go on to these websites we're building where we say it's private and they can come in and like I've said before in other videos, I believe there's probably hundreds if not thousands of patriots that were die hard that said too much in private chats that are sitting in the dungeons with the people that got set up on January 6th. But I'm smarter than that. I'm smarter than them. So I know what they're doing. I know how to articulate opposition against them. And I know that we have to do two things. We have to be absolutely lawful and peaceful and open and transparent. That's our defense. That's our protection. while simultaneously building and growing as a people who are willing, if we have to, as the absolute last resort, to use violence. Like it says on the website, I came up with that little slogan: lawful and peaceful until forced to be lawfully violent. None of us want to be violent. They're trying to push us into violence. They want us to fire the first shot so they can send in the UN troops and round up their enemy. Christians, conservatives, patriots, truthers, Trump supporters. That's their enemy. So my effort is we all need to get on board. So what did I do? Righteousarmy.org is a website where we can do it lawfully, peacefully, connect. If other people are doing it, great. This is one of the problems I've addressed too, is that this is the best way I can describe it. Everybody that's on the leftist liberal progressive loons, the anarchists, the BLM, the Antifa, the paid groups, the George Soros groups, they're all easy to control. So you can get them all together and get them to do whatever you want, because they're all sheeple. They're all followers. They're all waiting to be told by some big tyrant what to do so they can do something bad, mean, and nasty and ugly and burn down buildings and destroy other people's property. They get a kick out of it, right? But the people on the right are not that way. They're godly. They're respectable. They're decent. They're hardworking. They have businesses. They have families. They don't want to think about none of this. They just want to live their life. But now they're all being forced into a situation where they're having to do something. So when those people put their foot in the water, they're all leaders. We're all leaders. Everybody that's here is a leader. So the problem is, how do you organize leaders? Because they all want to lead. They all want to be a leader. They all want to have their own website. They all want to get their donors. They all want to make money. They all want to make it a successful thing I'm doing because I'm doing something good and I'm a businessman. I got a family to feed. We all need money. I've done this full time only by the grace of God, because I live with my dad and with my 30-year-old son and with my wife in his prefab home. And it's kind of like a trailer park, but they're prefab home communities. And my wife cleans offices and I go help her in the evening clean offices. But to the most part, I have a lot of time. I lost my life when all this started. Like a lot of people, I lost my life also. Right before this, I was just a guy out singing Stairway to Heaven and Dust in the Wind and Sweet Home Alabama and, 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s music, right? Just playing acoustic and singing at Bayside Marina and all these different places, just, make wherever I could, driving some Uber, playing music. That was my life. But I became a political and social activist, first with the bigvirushoax.com, exposing the virus BS, the scam, the lie, the truth about what viruses are and what they aren't, all the science behind it. It's all at the bigvirushoax.com. But then I realized, wait a minute. Okay, so we're exposing all these lies. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar, or people that watch this video, familiar with Dr. David Martin. You got people saying, oh, he's part of the Illuminati, but you got other people saying, no, man, look, he's been tracking the pharmaceutical industries for 30 years. He's got their patents on bioweapons and he's exposing them. And then the attorney, Rainer Fulmich, a German attorney who has sued Volkswagen, and he's like the head of a group of 200 attorneys that go to the bigvirushoax.com. It's the top website under me at the top, because I was talking about an issue where my rights were violated by the state attorney's office. But under that video is Rainer Fulmich doing a whole dissertation on how the pharmaceutical industry and Bill Gates and all of them are criminals. If they're criminals, why are they still on TV? Why have they not been rounded up? Because we don't have a government. We don't have a just government. We don't have a just FBI. We don't have a just CIA. Now, there may be some good people in those agencies, and we know there's a shaking going on right now. But this is why I love what Sheriff Richard Mack is doing for the last 2 years, going around the country. He's pushing the constitutional sheriffs. But again, every single sheriff should be calling me and saying, I'll be the point man in my county. I might be an elected government official, but I'm also a citizen. I'll be more than happy to head the militia. Every single Navy, every single veteran who served as a Navy SEAL, Green Beret, or an Army Ranger should be calling me and saying, I'll be the point of contact in my county. I mean, I've got the skills. I can do classes once a month on gun safety and invite family and children and talk to them about weapons and the dangers and how to be safe and gun safety. That's a good community thing that's being done by the militia. like I said, if you make the shirt yourself, right? But I created these shirts. I am militia, Second Amendment, I am militia, with the website on it, just to try to get people to go there. And I
Hey,
created them.
Mike,
Yes.
hey, do we have anybody with a hand up or someone else that needs to contribute
No, I
before they
am
gotta
watching for the
leave?
hands. And if somebody wants to speak, please raise your hand, because
Okay,
as soon as the hand
okay.
comes up, anybody has anything to say? My point is to get everybody to go to the states page. The states page is at righteousarmy.org. If you go there, you'll see I took the time to create a page for every state. I took the time to get the constitution of the state and link it. I took the time to create a Gab account, because Gab is run by a Christian conservative man, and Gab is like Facebook, but it blows doors on Facebook. The FBI just started attacking Gab because they don't like that it's such a free, liberally and for conservatives, for Christians. In other words, he doesn't censor the conservative Christian right like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube does, right? So it's a great social media platform. So I mean, if you go to any state page, you'll see that there's a link to every sheriff. I took the time to create a state page for every state with the state flag on it, with a link to the state constitution, with a link to the sheriffs in that state, with a link to a Gab social media account for the militia to start communicating on a social media platform lawfully and peacefully and open and transparently, just so we can get to know each other. I put a list of things to do. So for every state, I'm not getting paid for this. I've only had two people since I started this. One went to the blue donor box and put $100 in, and I've made it clear in other videos. The blue donor box, not 1 cent is for me. It's all in a commercial account that's accounted for. It's an open, transparent account, and I'm endeavoring to create a national militia fund. And all that money is for all these efforts. Not one of it's for my personal use. Under there, I have donation links. If people want to donate to assist me, that would be the donations. So far, one person put $100 in the donation box, and one person put $10 a month. So, because you have the option to go $100 a year or $10 a month. And that's all we have is two people that have put money in a national militia fund. That's mind-blowing to me. Again, transparent. People can call. They can ask for a copy of the bank statement and see where the money's going. It's not for me. There's a board of directors that will vote on what the money's used for. As time goes on, we'll have a person from every state on that board of directors. So I'm trying to do this as uppity up and honest and sincere and legitimate and decent as I possibly can. And I've taken the time to do all of that just in the last, I started kind of working on the side a few months ago, but I only started having these meetings a month ago. This is like, meeting 20, but 2 of the meetings were like, 5 of the videos account for 2 meetings, 2 of the meetings account for 10 videos. So 10, what's that? 2 a week, that's 5 weeks. This is like the 5th week. This is like the 5th or 6th week of me having these national militia Zoom meetings. And I'll admit, I appointed myself because I sent an email to Governor Ron DeSantis saying, Governor, who's heading the militia in our state? Because it's not the government. The militia is we the people. Do we have a state militia point man? Do we have a county militia point man in Dade County or Palm Beach County or Broward County or anywhere else? No? I'll do it. So I've taken the initiative to be the national militia coordinator, the state of Florida militia coordinator, and the Miami-Dade County state coordinator. And what I'm doing is trying to get others to step up to the plate to be the coordinator in their state. Tave, he's not with us. Tave's there up in the left corner. Tave's our militia coordinator in Ohio. We've got, I don't know all the names right now. Guys, speak up, but we've got 11 right now, 11 patriots that have stepped up to say, yeah, I'll put my name, my phone number, my email address on my state page so that if people are looking to try to organize, sure, they can call me and I'll tell them, I can direct them to the website. I can direct them to some videos. I can say, yes, we're putting forth an effort here to be lawful and legal and peaceful and transparent. Because again, when they point them to the Righteous Army, I've got links to Republic for the United States of America there. I've got links to all of our Zoom meetings. I've got links to every single state constitution. I've got links to every state militia social media on Gab. And I'm doing more and more and more. I've got, again, Europa, the Last Battle, 12-hour video. In my opinion, anybody who considers themselves to be an American or a conservative or a Christian or a patriot must watch it. It's 12 hours. And when they watch it, their life will go like this. What? They'll freak out because everybody I know that watched it, turned their life around. And like I said, it's about know thy enemy. Know who your enemy is. But there's psyops involved with it too. There's a lot of psyops going on. Like I said earlier, nothing gets by me. I'm always peeling the layers of the onion away, from the Jew anti-Semite psyop, the racism psyop, the homosexual psyop, and just brushing all that away so we can move forward, so that people don't have to be shamed and humiliated and intimidated by some mainstream media driven psyop that's intended to shame them and humiliate them and silence them. So again, I'm looking for hands. No hands. Maybe I can call on some people. Let me put you guys on the spot. John from Colorado, can you give us some wisdom? All right.
Well, we'll make this real simple. I have a philosophy that says normal is not coming back, but Jesus Christ is. Now, I did what you're doing right now. I did it 15 years ago, and it almost panned out. But the major issue we had was these leaders of these different militias in the communities. Everybody was struggling for the power. They wanted to be in charge. And it literally, the people under them walked away because of those dissertations that took place. And I tried it again 4 years ago, and it was successful for about 1.5 years, and then it self-destructed. So I wish you the best of luck, and I would like to see this work, and I will help to the best of my ability in my area. But other than that, you know, the United States in general, the people in general have turned their back on God. If we look back through the Bible, we can see every time a community or a city or a state or a country turn their back on God, God kicks their ass. And he does it on a very vicious personal level. That is, I mean, he's pissed off. He's got 6,000 years of dealing with Satan. I think he's at his wit's end right now. So I'm not looking at the future of the United States. I think it's going to economically collapse. I think the Chinese and the Russians and everybody's going to fight over the dirt, and we're going to be the meat in the middle. That's about all I got to say.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I just want to make one comment on something you said that's important, and then we'll go to the militia guy. And you mentioned the thing about everybody wanting to be the leader. Great, because that's the approach I'm using is I want you to be the leader. And when I say you, John, but I want you, whoever I'm pointing at that's watching this video across America, to be the leader in your community, to be the leader in your county, more specifically. You can lead, you can be a leader. So for all the ones that want to be leaders, there's room for leaders. Because that's, goes to the point I was making earlier, right? About it's difficult to organize everybody on the right because they all are leaders. They all want to be leaders. But what I'm doing here is giving everybody a chance to be a leader, because I want everybody, I can't lead every county, let alone every state. So what I'm saying is let's do something here that's never been done before. Let's have an actual organized militia, meaning we the people who are the militia, technically and lawfully, are organizing ourselves as we the people who are all of like mind on the issues that we all agree upon. We're organizing. And yes, we're the militia. And now when we have a point man or point woman in every county who's the voice, it could be 2 or 3 or 4 of them working in unison in each county that are saying, yes, we're organizing our monthly meetings on gun safety, and we're organizing our monthly meetings on reading the Constitution and the laws and the Bill of Rights, and we're organizing Zoom meetings once a month where this expert comes in and discusses this issue or the other. We're organizing, all of us just meeting over at the range to do some gun practice together, just like because we have the right to assemble and the right to bear arms. And we're just going to the range anyway to do some target practice. And maybe while we're there, we'll do some gun safety training as well. So we're all organizing under the same umbrella, and we need a lot of leaders to do that. We need a leader in every single county in every single state. And not only do we need a point man or woman for each county, but when all the counties have a point man or woman, they can all delegate or elect a point man or woman for the state who will work in harmonious, cooperation with the governor to let the governor know where the people stand, right? And then all the state point representatives can elect a national point person who can kind of be the liaison between the government, whether it's the corporate government or the republic government, to let the government know where the people stand on certain issues as well. Because it's ultimately about us. It's we, the people. We're the sovereigns. We're the ones that are on top. The government works for us. Go ahead, the militia guy. The militia guy. Go ahead, brother. You got your hand raised. There you go. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned last Sunday, and that was the first time I'd ever heard about you guys. I asked you about Andrew Torba and Gab, and you had mentioned, or I asked if you'd had reached out to him, and you'd said yes. Did he ever respond?
Not yet. In fact, just today, I sent him a message through Gab. I said, "Hi, Andrew, this is Michael Van Scoik, the National Militia Coordinator. Please call me ASAP at 305-910-6206. I'm hoping to hear back from him because I really want to talk to Andrew and let him know that, first of all, I want to give him assurance that I'm doing a really good thing in two ways. First of all, I'm utilizing his platform, creating a militia page for every single state that's completely compliant and complicit with his terms of service and policies and everything else, right? Because we are peaceful and lawful and open and transparent. And in a way, it's a great system to even weed out the shills and the trolls, right? Because we are lawful and peaceful. So I love Gab. I love Andrew Torba. I think he's a great, godly man. I would love to be able to speak to him. He can call me anytime at 305-910-6206. Go ahead. And forgive me, the militia guy. Your name again is?
Nick.
Nick, right. Okay, Nick.
I just, I find most of these guys, I happen to be online on Gab the day he beta tested his Gab TV. And it went fairly smooth, I thought. But, I was in the chat room and I many times, tried to reach out to him, asked him to be on my talk radio show, Christian Revolt, long overdue. And he talks about the Jews and that we're not going to take it anymore. But I suspect he'll end up to be like Trump, which he was never really on our side. But all these guys, they talk a big talk, but when it comes to action, I think they're controlled opposition. So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And
because David Bateman, the Entrada CEO, who talked about the infiltration of the Jews into the Catholic Church, and then he ended up resigning as CEO. I reached out to him, and we actually had an initial back and forth on Jew Book. But the minute I mentioned, because I asked him if he was Catholic, because I found it strange that he would mention that, and he never responded, and he's blocked me now. So I suspect that he's a Mormon, and Mormons are not Christians. It's, LDS is a branch of Freemasonry, but I suspect that he's another guy.
Right.
Got a lot of money, and talk. It's all part of the dog and pony show. As you say, left, right, Republicans, Democrats, and it keeps for it's nice entertainment if you know what's going on. But millions of people do not know what's going on.
That's right. And, you know, your point about dog and pony show, that's what they're all about, man. It's smoke and mirrors, dog and pony show, psyops, divide and conquer. And that's why, again, you know, just whenever a word is mentioned, Jew, Catholic, Latter-day Saint. See, I have a very kind of liberal, open, accepting, frontal approach to anybody, no matter what their religion is, knowing that most people don't know a lot of the deeper truths, right? It's like when I give the example of truly, probably the most friendly, warm, congenial, loving people I've ever known and charitable are Catholic. But yet, a lot of the Protestants I know certainly know their Bible a whole lot better, right? And even at that, right? I know the Latter-day Saints and Mormons and Seventh-day Adventists, and my great-granddaddy was a Baptist preacher. So, you know, there's a lot of different views people are going to have. So again, there's certainly areas where we're not all going to agree. But on the areas where we do agree, we must unite, and we need leaders to lead in their communities and in a network where we're all connected. So in theory, even if there was another effort going on out there where there's somebody else was doing what I'm trying to do now, I've never seen it, I've never heard of it, but if there was somebody out there that was actually connecting and they had that brilliant approach of let's get a militia point of contact in every county. That's the official coordination for the militia. And let's make that happen in every county, and then have a state rep and a national rep. This should have been done decades ago. Again, SEALs, where are you? Rangers, where are you? Right? The warriors, man, the warrior class that did their time. They did their 5, 10, 15, 20, you know, in the Navy, in the Marines, in the Army, Air Force. They're smart, they're talented, they're skilled. They should have got out 10, 20, 30 years ago and scratched their head and said, man, I really learned a lot when I was in there for that 10, 15 tour there. Now I'm out, you know, I got my little business, or I'm a carpenter, I'm a plumber, whatever I'm doing now. But what if our government ever gets infiltrated and hijacked by communists? What if our government ever goes off the rails? What if they start violating? What if that happens? What if one day Russia and China combine and try to take our shores? You know, we always hear about we all have guns, but are we all really organized? Are we trained as an American people who are the militia to be able to know what to do? That was missed, man. That should have been done 20, 30 years ago. If that had been done, the 2020 rigged election would not have even taken place. Trump's involvement with it or not, irrelevant. It wouldn't have happened. And if it did, it would have been taken care of real quick. You know, I did a video once describing January 6th, and this is just coming from little old me, little nobody. What could have been done? What should have been done? Think about it. Trump, okay, we know he's actually the president of a corporation, but Trump, the commander in chief of the United States of America, controlling the US military, knowing that millions of his supporters were going to Washington on a very important day where his vice president was going to make a vote and had the legal right to halt it based on foreign interference via rigged voting machines. If I was the president, I would have already had my military personnel out there front and center with blowhorns and walkie-talkies and hold the line, folks. I'm your president and I'm here. Let's see what they do. And then I'd have had my legal paperwork already filed so that when they didn't do the right thing, okay, boys, move in and take them into custody. It's because it was all legal. As Trump, am I smarter than Trump that I even said that in 15 seconds? I mean, wouldn't that have been the way to go? Who could argue with that? That's, to me, just more proof that morning when he said, which he did on national television, quote, "Those bastards, get down there." And then he hauled ass and left the scene. He was setting him up. Now, again, I know there's still a lot of people that still support Trump. God bless you. I'm with you. You're with me. We're in the same team. There's just a lot of us who, over the last 2 years, have been privy to a lot of information that a lot of you are not. Again, regarding Zionist Jews with their New World Order, one world government, whom Trump filled his cabinet with and whom Trump appointed to head the Fed. Again, for those that know about, you know, I said earlier, some of my best friends, the most warm people I know are Catholic, but the Roman Catholic Vatican Papal Institution is another animal altogether. We're talking about a religio-political system, a state that ran the world supremely for 1500 years during the Dark Ages. And essentially the point that Militia Man made about Jews infiltrating the Roman Catholic, you know, hierarchy, there's a lot of stuff going on that none of us know about. And you know, it goes even into the bad bloodlines, right? You know, the Edomites, Esau, Jacob, all the biblical stories and the bloodlines that trickle down to these animals, savages. Again, watch Europa: The Last Battle, all 12 hours, and you'll see some actual live footage from that time, because they video recorded a lot of what they were doing in the 20s and 30s and 40s, actual video footage, and you'll see how savage they are. These people have no problem wiping out. They're killing our children now with vaccines. They're killing people all over the world with their laboratory created bioweapons. They're just trying to be clever about it. Like William Cooper said in his book, Behold a Pale Horse, we have to do this in a way that it appears to be a natural event, because we can't just come out and line them up and shoot them like we did 100 years ago. We have to kind of do it a little different now. Can we get something going in the laboratories? Can we start spraying some stuff in the atmosphere that people are breathing in? Can we start injecting things in them that'll take them out? We can call it a natural pandemic. Anybody got anything? Again, I can call on names. Come on, Matthew Brown. Come on, tell us something, Matthew. Give us some good positive words.
I went into court, and I gave him Title 18, Section 241, 242, conspiracy to deprive me of my rights under color of law. The judge kind of, I guess you could say, like more or less mocking me, and goes, "Oh, you're one of those David."
You broke up, Matthew. You broke up, Matthew. Try it again.
He said, you're one of those David Lester Straight. Did you get the Freedom Bundle? And I said, no. He was going to give me a bench, judge me from the bench, but after I gave him that, he sentenced me to a jury trial.
Right. Yeah. So there's two issues I can say on that. Number one is, too many people, when they watch a video and they hear about one or two codes and they find out this whole thing about sovereignty and 18 U.S. code under color of law, they go into court and mention that, and they get themselves in trouble because they have not set up their house. They don't have a trust. They don't have nothing in order at all. So they're a laughingstock to the court. You have to be 100% in order with everything you're doing, or it won't work. It can't. David, if you haven't done so already, it takes time, just like Europa. It's 12 hours, but it's worth it. I put 5 videos from David Straight when he did a session in Utah a couple years ago, and it's 5 videos that are all like 2.5 hours a piece. And it took my son and I several days of watching it, and it was tedious, and some of it was redundant. But after watching the whole thing, it became clear to me why so many people are getting in trouble, because there's a reality that exists, but when people get word of it, they want to try to implement it before they have their ducks in a row, and they end up getting in trouble. Like you said, that's a good example. You can see videos of that too on YouTube. There's all kinds of videos, and they actually are pushing these videos out more and more and more to discourage people from going down the road, because the people that go down the road and do everything sequentially and get everything done proper, it's legitimate. But the people that go in there and they haven't even changed their status, they're a US citizen on record, no status change even, and they go in talking about it, the judges are laughing because they know they have control over them and power over them still. There is a process by which a person can separate themselves and become a sovereign, where they are not subject to that crown, which is what it is. You're a sovereign. You're not a citizen. The citizen is a subject. The citizen is an employee of them. You're part of the system. All of us are. The best thing we could do if we get caught up in a court situation until we go through all the processes and jump through all the rings and have changed our status and changed our identification and our passport that says we're a sovereign, and we have all of our paperwork in order, and we have a trust, and we can actually, we've learned and we can articulate what our position is, and we go into a court like David says, I'm here by special appointment, Your Honor, not just, hey, Judge, I'm a sovereign. 2 days in jail, hey, Judge, you're violating US code. They don't care about US code. So yes, a lot of people are getting themselves in trouble because they're seeing this stuff and getting excited about it and thinking because of one law or one statute or one US code that they can go in there and say that, and it's going to make a difference. It will make a difference. It'll make it worse for them ultimately, because they're going to piss off the system. You have to go through the entire system, and don't even mess with the system until after you do. The best thing for anybody to do is to not have to deal with the system at all. And if you do end up having to deal with the system, yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor, I understand. Yep, I did run that traffic light. Yes, officer. Yep. I'm driving without a suspended license. I know under the statutes, I can't do that. Please, appreciate it if you won't compound my car and take me in. See, we get ourselves in trouble to begin with. We do stupid things, and the corporate structure has a system in place to be able to capitalize off our mistakes. There is a legitimate way to break free from that, and it's a process, and it takes time. So you'd have to watch all 5 of his videos and then go through the sequential steps. My son and I are doing it now. My son's very smart. I taught him to read at a young age. So he's one of these people that can read and retain what he reads. And he says, I'm on it, Dad, I'm on it. So he already got his original long form birth certificate. I just applied for mine, and I'm waiting for mine to come in the mail. That's like the first step, because that original long birth certificate, when my son showed it to me, it was mind blowing. It's nothing at all like what they give you when you ask for a copy of your birth certificate. It's completely different. In fact, in your original birth certificate, it does not have your names in all caps. It has uppercase, lowercase, because that was you, the person that was born, that's now owned by them. It's really amazing. But again, you have to go through these processes, change your status. It takes several months, get a passport showing your changed status, have your trust, have your paperwork in order. And again, there's a process for going into court that David talks about. You have to watch his 5 videos 2 or 3 times, and you'll still have questions. I watched those 5 videos twice, and I'm still having questions, but I'm not going to jump the gun. So don't jump the gun. Anybody got anything?
I should have went to the sheriff and told him his deputy stepped out of line. That's the route I should have taken, because my car was paid off. I had title to it, all that. I was traveling in commerce. I was going from point A to point B, and yeah, I should have went to the sheriff and told him his boy stepped out of line. But I did the wrong thing. I went to the wrong jurist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and if you're not in the, jurisdiction is like the first. Status is the first important thing, and jurisdiction is really the next most important thing. Because really, even though people have the right to travel without a driver's license, not necessarily if you're a citizen. If you're a US citizen and that's your status, and you're a subject to the crown who says if you're traveling, you have to have a driver's license. So again, people are kind of jumping the gun on it. You have to go through all these processes. It takes patience, it takes research, reading, it takes asking questions, and it takes time. But it can be done over a period of time. Don't even try to use any of that. Just try to be a good guy, try not to run any stop signs, try to always have your driver's license, and try to abide by the laws and the statutes to the best of your ability. You won't have any problems anyway if you do that. But if you end up having problems, don't use that other stuff, because it'll just make it worse, really. Right. I said we were going to
I
keep the
got
meeting.
sent through three. I got sent through 3 counties, 3 county jails. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry you went through that, Matthew. Been there, done that, brother.
Nobody can be, nobody is that lucky. Like I said, I was affiliated with a patriot group, and some of those patriots went to DC. I did not.
Yeah.
But like I said, nobody's lucky enough to go through 3 different county jails within a year. Nobody's that lucky.
That's true. Yeah, I said I was going to try to keep the meeting short. Maybe I should tell everybody I'm going to try to keep them at 2 hours instead of 1, because it is true. We get people on here. I do. If nobody's talking, I'll start going on my expressions again. It's tough to keep them down, but hey, we still got 7 hanging out. If is there anybody else, James? Anything more you want to say? Particularly anything anybody might want to say in terms of this reality that we need leaders to lead lawfully, peacefully, openly, and transparently in their community as a person who's saying, I mean, we the people make up the militia. No, we're not saying we're getting guns and we're going to storm any capitals or go against the government, but we're going to organize ourselves as the people. All of us who are of like mind. Come on, folks, do you believe this, 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 and this? Which I outlined on the website, right? It's pretty much everything there. Anybody who agrees with everything that's written on the website, the FBI, CIA, NSA, nobody else, no police, no sheriff can come knocking on my door because of anything that is written on that website. But yet that website calls them out honestly and accurately. So if you agree with everything that's written on that website and you're not a coward, you're not fearful, and you recognize we're lawful, peaceful, open, and transparent, and you're willing to put your name, phone number, and email address on your county or on your state page, let me know, because as all that represents is you're a person who's now a voice, right? That somebody can see a number they can call and you can say, yeah, we're organizing We the People, man. We're studying the laws and we're talking about our rights, and we're defending the Second Amendment, and we're organizing, and we're having monthly meetings on gun safety, and we're looking for even more qualified police officers and military people to come in and work with us so we can really grow a good solid community effort of building We the People who are the militia. It's giving a new flavor to militia, a new approach, not this PSYOP, backwoods media driven seditionist idea that's been thrown out there. No, it's simply that We the People are the militia, and we're just organizing, and we're having gun safety training meetings and annual barbecues, and we're all wearing a shirt that says, I am militia, Second Amendment. That's all.
Mike,
Yeah.
in closing, let me wrap up.
Okay.
Everybody's got an email or a pen and paper. You can go and go to Republic for the United States of America.org. You can sign up for our email communications, and there's a link there where you can contribute your efforts, and you'll be contacted, and we'll help organize or put you in touch with organized communication within your state. We the people are the militia. And what we're doing and offering to people is the lawful legal platform to hold lawful elections. Now, I don't know that of probably 80% of the American people out here today would like to get out of the conversation that we're in today and start holding lawful and legal elections. And if we take that platform and offer this up to the American people as leaders in cooperation with our local county leaders, we'll have our militia formed and we'll have our country back. And it's pretty simple. And they go hand in hand. This is a structure, God's biblical structure, our Constitution, our Bill of Rights. It said that people are known by their fruit of their tree. And if you search out what I've said and how long I've been saying it, you'll find that I've amazed many people with my foresight. And we're at that point where we have got to be who we say we are and quit talking about what ifs and start doing it. And here's how we do it. Together, under the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the leadership of our Lord. And thank you, Mike, for bringing us all together to communicate. God bless the Republic.
Thank you, James. And James, just I appreciate you taking us out, but I just want to see if Joseph has anything to say. I'd like for him to say something. Joseph, can you say a few words? He might not be willing or able at this time, but I just wanted to give him the chance because Joseph's been on a few times, and I'm wondering if that's the same Joseph who is our point. We have a point contact in New Mexico named Joseph and Arizona named Joseph. Just wanted to see if that was the same Joseph. I guess not. So thanks for taking us out, James. Everybody say the website one more time, James.
Republic for the United States of America.org. If you go in and you do a little research, you'll find the DSI. You hit a search bar, DSI. It's a 142-page document that is standing in the World Court and has been in place since 2010, November.
Awesome.
And this is in your behalf. You need to read it.
Yep. Everybody read it. Thanks, James. God bless
Thank you, Mike.
everybody. Thank you, John. Thank you, Militia Guy. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Tave. See you guys Wednesday.